People, talk about a way to end off the year with a massive bang. Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, the manga in particular, definitely had one hell of a rocky year. For the most part, mainly because it was straight up like setup chapters. We had a lot of different setup points of characters being introduced, all of that jazz. It wasn't really focused in on advancing the story. A lot of people complained as well that saying like, yo, we've been in this encounter with Code for months now. What the heck is going on? However, this chapter, Boruto chapter 65 of the manga, definitely was a game changer, and it looks like going into 2022, we are being thrusted into that feel that Boruto has given us in the past, and why the anime was just scorching all through 2021 thanks to those chapters that we got prior to the anime, those really epic and exciting things that go down. Because fam, between new Boruto jutsus, that is a freaking Rasengan, not Rasengan, Rasengan, let's get it right here, Kawaki's new form, just everything about it, some stuff that I gotta talk about that might blow your mind, that you're probably gonna say, holy cow, we might actually legitimately take an L in terms of, I think that there's a possibility a certain character is going to die. We're gonna dive into it, and after I tell you everything that I'm about to tell you right here, you're gonna be like, Fornev, no, I don't want to waste your time. I guess let's talk a little bit of that Boruto. It is hype, hype, hype.
No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done.
So yes, people, Boruto chapter 65. It was kind of crazy. Earlier in the month, I had said over on Twitter, like, yo, I really want them to bring us a hype chapter this time around. Like, it's been a setup year, introductions, like to Ada and Damon, all of these things that kind of was just leading to something big happening, but nevertheless, it wasn't anything like on a major progressive scale. However, this chapter blew that whole idea out the window in terms of it was freaking epic as hell. Things was going down, and we're slowly but surely inching towards that big time skip that has been promised over a year now. Ikamoto, we're looking at you, dog. But Boruto 65, for starters, one last time, because I've already mentioned it on 2 different videos, but I just gotta say one more time, for the one time, it was epic as hell to see Naruto Sage Mode on the cover of the chapter. It just looked freaking awesome. Hokage Naruto Sage Mode, I loved it. It looked dope, and yeah, shout outs to that cover page. Honestly, probably might be my favorite colored cover page of Boruto for the entirety of the year. Like, I think that that was like the best looking one. It just looks so freaking epic. I mean, I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 that I might be misremembering of like them being really impactful, but this one had me, because I was like, yo, it's giving me the same vibes I had way back when Naruto, you know, went into his Baryon mode and stuff like that, and that was a big deal. Like, it gave me that type of vibe, except again now, you know, Naruto's a little weaker now, and of course, like, yeah, he looks epic, but he's about to get manhandled. Because the chapter opens up with Boruto continuing from where we left off, being on the ground, agonizing in pain, and yeah, Amado, drugs, biting, like, yo, those pills definitely didn't do any justice to Boruto. I mean, I guess you could throw the argument there that he was able to use some of the Boroshiki attributes per se for a little bit in this battle against Code. Like, he was a lot stronger than average Boruto while he was fighting Code, so you could give him that, but it was not really long lasting of being able to suppress Momoshiki's consciousness from ultimately coming out. Because similar to way back at the end of the Boruto Naruto the movie stuff, we see Momoshiki in a genjutsu, what appears to be anyway a genjutsu, because Boruto is like stuck on the floor there, and we see Momoshiki hop down from a tree, and Boruto probably was like, yo, what type of drugs did Amado give me though? But I gotta say this, while later on in the chapter, Amado was actually caught up in a big lie, and we're gonna get to it, he didn't lie about this per se, because one of the things that Momoshiki says is, even if you halt karmic extraction with trifling drugs, is just a stopgap. So essentially, yeah, those drugs that Amado was giving Boruto actually were doing what they said to be doing. It's just that it was only like, you know, slowing things down, a little bit of a slowdown, not necessarily a complete stop by any means of like, hey, it's not gonna progress any further. So like, Amado's efforts, while they actually were legitimately trying to do what he said he was trying to do, still it wasn't enough, and at the end of the day it shouldn't be. Like, yo, some random pills from some dude that we still don't even know who the hell he is coming out of the woo, we're like, yo, I got the shits, dog, I got them things, you know what I'm saying? So I gotta commend that. It looks like, based on what Momoshiki's response was, that no, that actually was legit Amado trying to stop it. It wasn't that he was actually trying to push it forward to get the karma to continue going even more so. And Boruto seemingly is stuck again on the ground. He can't move, and I'm wondering, is Ada able to see what's happening here? Like, it looks like she, you know, her eyes are activated as if she could see what's in Boruto's mind right there or something. That was something that I was curious, like, how much can Ada really see? Because we already know her ability for knowledge purposes is absolutely hacks. Like, you could be anywhere at any time watching and observing things that is going on. But I wonder if it could go into like what's happening with Boruto right now in this genjutsu or this vision that he's seeing of him and Momoshiki. Also, I feel like it was a deliberate choice the way they did this in terms of like when Boruto actually sees Momoshiki, because they could have easily did the same thing they did for, you know, the entirety of Naruto. When Naruto would talk to Kurama, he would go into that dark chamber of his mind, and that would be the way they interacted. They could have easily did that, considering like the karma is in there. They could have made it like a big, I don't know, a computer room, considering everything is about technology now. Like, it could have been a giant computer room and a computer screen with Momoshiki on it or something. But the fact that they decided to leave it simplistic as like, it's almost as if it's a time stop genjutsu, so to speak. Like, okay. I get it that they wanted to differentiate from it being totally just straight up like, hey, this is Boruto's Kurama with Momoshiki. But I don't know, I feel like they could have kind of just used a similar concept of being like in the dark chambers, but again, make it maybe like electronic, or make it like, you know, the Matrix. Like, imagine they're just in a room, an all black room with like those green numbers going everywhere, similar to the Matrix. Again, that would make sense considering the karma itself is kind of like, you know, it's technology. And leave me alone, I'm talking about the Matrix here. I'm very hype about the upcoming film, just saying. Not that I'm getting paid to talk about it, I'm just saying. Also, something to note, because while we see Ada there, we see Damon sleeping, and the more that we see Damon sleeping leads me to believe down the road, because we already know about his ability and his pretty freaking hacks, he's going to be a problem. Like, every time we see Damon, like, I feel like if he was to wake right now, he's going to jump up and go and follow them and try to jump into the battle and be hacks. And I think that's one of the reasons why he's being left out of the equation of everything that's going on, because it's going to be for another time period, whether again the time skip and then Damon's a little bit older and he's like, yo, I've been waiting for this the entire time, I'm not sleeping today, something along the lines of that. I think that's why Damon is just continuing to be asleep through all this, because it was like, so you introduced this character, it felt like it was supposed to be a big deal, but it's probably Kishimoto setting something up for down the road, not like anytime soon of, hey, Damon's going to be involved. Maybe I'm off on that. Maybe by the end of all of this, Damon's going to show up on some creepy shit and drag somebody back with him to the lair with Ada, or it could be that this is a setup for something along the way that's going to, looking back, be like, oh snap, Damon's been here for a long time, I know this character, he's not just, you know, some irrelevant guy that was just added in last chapter. And I'm wondering exactly what is it that happens with Boruto there. Is it like, again, a similar concept in terms of like when Naruto's talking to Kurama, is like all in his mind or something? Like, because to him, again, it's like if time stopped. I feel like this is all just in his mind in an instant. Like, the computer chip is making him see shit in terms of like, you know, the karma being, you know, moving and whatnot with Momoshiki in it. So it's like probably all happening within like a drop of a second. Also, something interesting to note, that I want to say this is one of the first full times since the end of the Boruto Naruto, the movie stuff of the feat of Momoshiki and whatnot, that Boruto has had like this lengthy of a encounter and conversation between him and Momoshiki. I think the few times that he was possessed, it was just kind of like, oh shit, he's here now. Now that I think about it, that's probably the differentiating factor, one of the many, between like Kodachi's writing style and Kishimoto or whoever's penning this, because that's a whole other debate on who's the actual writer of this thing. But that's probably the difference of like, Kodachi was like, man, let's just show not tell, and with Kishimoto he's like, I'm gonna show, tell, and show some more. So yeah, a little bit different. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't ever mad at when Boroshiki would just pop up out of nowhere. It would feel freaking crazy, like holy shit, while this one is adding more substance to it, I guess you could say, which in the long term makes for better storytelling, so I'll give it that. Kodachi's style is, oh my god, this shit is crazy right now. Kishimoto's is like, okay, this is crazy. Like, you know the Vince McMahon meme where he's like, his facial expression keeps getting more dramatic as it goes? Like, that's Kishimoto's style. And Momoshiki starts to talk his stuff. He's like, these worthless Kara dregs. Like, yo. At the end of the day, he's always had like, you know, I'm an alien, I'm an Otsutsuki, I'm superior, these humans mean nothing. But of course, because he knows that Code is the one that has the location to the divine tree seedling, so to speak, with the 10 tails, he's like, oh, perfect timing. Let me go kill this dude now. Move over. Which again, makes that those pills, while they slowed things down, probably it slowed this process of this happening right there. Like, maybe beforehand, Momoshiki could have popped up a lot sooner, but thanks to those pills again, it dragged things out. But also, it makes me wonder, like, wasn't it that Boruto needed to completely be drained of chakra for Momoshiki to pop up? I thought that that was the case. Like, he needed to be completely, like, out cold in order for him to take over. But again, it seems as though whatever those drugs did, it kind of messed everything up. And I love it. I ain't gonna lie. I absolutely love it. The action, like, whenever this gets animated in 2026 or some shit, this is gonna be hype, because Boroshiki just jumps out of it and just starts dumping a massive Rasengan, and I'm like, oh, here we go, fam. Like, we're finally in motion. A lot of what people have been saying, it is facts. Like, don't get me wrong, Boruto in 2021 has been a lot slower than it ever has been, because remember, this was the first full year that it wasn't Kodachi at the helm. We've had a lot more of a setup and a slower pace of a manga, but it's leading for, I guess, an overall bigger ending and impact at the end. Like, Kodachi's writing style, like I said, was just wham, 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 not letting off the gas. This one is, let's slowly press the gas, and instead of going from 0 to 100 at a drop of a hat, let's go from 0 to 20 to 40 to 60 to 80, and at the end we're doing 200 miles an hour, opposed to Kodachi. No, I don't want to front on Kodachi. He was doing 200. It was just, you get a lot of 200 miles an hour, you're gonna inevitably crash. I don't know, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hate on Kodachi. Like, he did his thing, man. Baryon mode, all of that shit was epic. However, Code, thanks to his claw marks, is able to evade the whole situation in general, and of course he's impressed by the level of, you know, the real deal karma, because again, while he was fighting Boruto, it was still like, yo, Code had a chance. Now he knows there's not a slither in hell. And I'll be honest with you right now, in terms of a threatening level, it's interesting, because it's almost like who's on our side, supposed to be on our side anyway. You know, Boruto now possesses Momoshiki. He's 10 times more of a bigger threat than Code, who was actually supposed to be the big threat of this whole thing. I think that's one of the problematic aspects, is that if Code is not going to be the main villain of all of this shit, which it doesn't look like it, then move him out the way already. Like, kill him and bring forth who is supposed to be the real McCoy, because as it stands right now, this rogue alien that is inside of Boruto is way more scarier, and I'm way more fearful of what he will do, opposed to Code. I'm just kind of like, Code wants to go meow, meow. Like, motherfucker, put your claws away, dog. This dude is the real deal. This dude is the lion. You just a little cub, dog. You Simba when he first came out of the womb, you know what I'm saying? And I love how Code, after he's like, yo, he's the real deal, dog. You know, he's mad impressed and everything. Boroshiki's like, and you're next, dude. It'll be the same for you. Like, yeah, that's how Boro fell, and that's how you gonna fall too, dog. Like, Momoshiki ain't playing, honestly. As it stands, hands down right now, the better and bigger villain, in my opinion, quote me on this, I don't care, for Boruto, where are we at right now? Boroshiki is 10 times better than Code, a billion times better. I'll be honest with you. Like, I would prefer if the whole series gets flipped on its head, and like we go into a part 2 where Boruto is truly, and I've said this last year and I'll say it again, Boruto is the villain per se, in terms of Boroshiki taking complete control of his consciousness as he advances the karma. Maybe those pills would have slowed things down in terms of him being able to completely taking over Boruto's body, but I would prefer that being the villain. I'm scared of that. I feel like that could hurt somebody. I feel like Code is just gonna again start meowing and want some milk. Not literally, you know what I mean. Like, he's that dude. And then here where we're going is where I feel like this was one of the, not first times that he lied, but one of the first times that it felt very blatant of a lie from Amado. Because Amado is back, we cut to him, he's talking with Sai, and Sumide's in the room as well. And one of the things that's brought up is like, well, Amado's asking, oh, how do you know that Code already linked up with Kawaki? Like, how do you know this? Because in his mind, and he knows, obviously, he worked on all of these people back when he was with Kara and stuff like that, he knows Code doesn't have the ability to sense anybody. So again, he's questioning things, which makes me wonder, like, you're the one, you should know about this. But maybe in his mind he completely forgot about this, or there's more that's not being said. Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't Amado collude with Boro in terms of like hiding those things, or was that completely, I forget if Boro was the one that was responsible entirely for putting up those androids that was supposed to be destroyed by Ishiki. Because Sumide then asked Amado like, yo, you don't think maybe it's an outer that's working with Code or something like that? And he's like, I ain't gonna destroy the possibility, but there's none to my knowledge that have those capabilities. And right there, to your knowledge, that is exactly who is capable of doing that. Ada is that person that could do that. So either again, he's not knowledgeable, maybe it's slipping my mind, he's not knowledgeable that these were put up to begin with, or he forgot, or he is lying, which is something very big because, again, this is the shadiest dude in the story. While Boroshiki's the scariest, this is the shadiest, and this could be, again, a mastermind in some ways. It's like, earlier in the chapter, okay, he's redeemed. He wasn't really pulling the strings to make the karma go forward in terms of Momoshiki said that those drugs were only just like a stopgap, so he was fine there. But here, he's lying because you do know about Ada, right? And then here's where, again, things get a little tricky because then Sai's like, well, at least we know where things are at, and don't worry, Naruto's on his way over there. We got the Hokage, everything is all good. And Amado doesn't even respond to that. So it makes you wonder, like, is it again going back to he don't care about nothing if it ain't about Kawaki, or he knows something? And this is very important, this inner monologue from Amado, because he says, come on, Kawaki, we made it this far. Don't muck it up now. And it makes me think, why are you talking like that as if y'all colluding with one another? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, if off screen Kawaki already had made his decision in terms of what Amado had told him about putting the karma mark back, and it wasn't that he slipped on the arm onto Kawaki with the karma attached to begin with. And also, we made it this far, don't muck it up now. What do you mean by that? We made it this far. I ain't gonna discount, and I really like the theory. I know a lot of people are not fans of it. I'm very, very much so passionate about things like this if it can be done right. Time travel. It just feels like Amado knows something is about to happen at some given point, and he's like, yo, we made it this far in the timeline, Kawaki. Don't mess it up now. We made it this far. What do you mean? I mean, it could just be, hey, we made it this far to stopping Code. Don't mess it up now. Something is just off. I wouldn't be surprised, again, let's just say if Amado is some time traveler. It doesn't even have to be the whole he's Kawaki from the future. I don't care if he's Butterbean and he just knew shit or whatever the case may be. What if ultimately Amado knows that on an island 9 miles southwest of South City, the Hokage Naruto dies at X time? Like, what if that's the case? And if we're going by that logic, which is something else we're going to talk about in a little bit, what if Naruto doesn't die in this timeline? Let's just say he died in another timeline. Amado came back in time. Again, doesn't have to be Kawaki. It could be whoever. I don't care. He could be fucking Inojin, whatever. What if Naruto survives this one? Somebody else has to die in the process. And it's not just going to be that we lost Kurama. What if? We'll get to that in a little bit because I got a feeling they're going to break our hearts and piss a lot of people off. But we come back and Boroshiki is firing off Rasengan as Code tries to evade, and even Ada is like, run, bitch, run! And while Kawaki is amazed and frightened of Boroshiki's overall massive might, ultimately Code comes and pulls a hostage situation. And I ain't gonna lie, this chapter, there was a lot of hostage situations, and just even further, like, I just gotta keep saying that, I don't really care for Code that much as a villain, like, at all. Like, he's now sneaking up and he's grabbing, he almost feels like, now that I think about it, like, think Imperfect Cell, and even he was more menacing because he was kind of scary the way he was doing things, but you're just not credible as a villain like that, where, you know, Boruto possessed by Momoshiki is 10 times more scarier than you. I'm more like, yo, Code, can you just join the good guy side for a little bit? That's how I'm feeling right now. And Code using Kawaki as a hostage, basically betting that, oh, you ain't gonna kill him. You need him for the sacrifice for the divine fruit, right? Yeah, you need him, dog, so you ain't gonna do nothing. And Boroshiki's like, do you know who I am, dog? Do you know how many years I've been around? How many situations I've seen? Like, why are you playing with me, bro? And we see, and I'm joking by the way, the rip-off of the century. Something even Yusuke Urameshi would both be very proud of and extremely pissed off of, like, yo, dog, you copy me? If you copy me, just let them know you got it from me, dog. Because Boroshiki switches from a giant Rasengan to a Rasendan, which is essentially a Rasen gun, the spirit gun. And he manages to just aim it at Code solely and blasts it off. And I'm like, I hope whenever we get another Boruto game, please no Shinobi Strikers, get that shit out of here. I don't care for that game. But, like, when we get another Boruto or Naruto game, whatever it may be, whether it's back at, you know, Cyber Connect 2 with another Storm series or whatever it is, I want to do that move. That shit looks so cool. And I love how he shits on Code even there. He's like, oh, what a dud of a karma. You can't even absorb jutsu, bro. Like, just die. And Code is, I wonder if he died, where would the story go at that point as well? Like, if Code was to die in this whole scenario, where would things go? Because he's not even, again, paying attention to what Ada's telling him. Like, if he would be smart, the all-knowing, you know, goddess over there, Ada, listen to her because she's telling you for your own good, run. But he's just completely ignoring everything everything she has to say. So again, it would make me wonder, okay, where we're going with this. I wouldn't be surprised if Code dies. Like, you're not listening to the one person that could save your ass and telling you get out of here. And Kawaki, despite being rescued by Boroshiki, realizes, oh, I'm in danger, and tries to resist basically, you know, the clutches of Boroshiki, and he ain't having that, dog. I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what it is about this chapter. This really made me a believer of, like, this is what Boruto needs more of. This is what the series needs more of. Like, I would argue, like, the difference between, let's just say, back when Naruto would rage and go nuts when, you know, Kurama would leak some of his chakra in, it was just flat out blind rage. Like, it wasn't like Kurama would take over his body and he'd be like, yo, dog, I'm Naruto, let's go. It was more so just like, ah. While this is a very cunning, very strong boost, but a cunning nonetheless, a creature that is taking over. Like, he's mindful, he's tactful, he's not just like a raging beast, which it worked with the whole Naruto thing because it was kind of scary. Like, you don't know what he could do. And while that's on the same vein with Boroshiki of, again, you don't know what he's capable of, what he'll do, it's just different because he's mindful and he's doing things like straight up like, oh, you gotta die, let me get you, opposed to roar. And Boroshiki knocks Kawaki down and proceeds to try to break his arm. He got him on the floor, he's about to step and snap that bad boy, and I'm like, let's go. Yo, matter of fact, what is it with the people behind Boruto, now that I think about it, messing with Kawaki's arms? Like, they just desperately want to take this dude's arms. And it makes me wonder, again, maybe that's where the karma returned. Maybe that's why he was going to step on that arm to begin with, because if he would have stepped that arm off, there wouldn't have been no karma return. Hey! However, as he's about to do it, he is stopped by Shikamaru's shadow jutsu, stopping him there. And I'm like, okay, you came to the battlefield, fam. Yeah, maybe you could do something, no doubt. And Naruto rescues Kawaki, whisking him away. And I'm like, oh yeah, the elders are here, let's go. However, Boroshiki absorbs the shadow, and Ada once again tells Code, bitch, run. And here's where I said I'll talk about it. Let's talk about it. I feel like one person in this fight right now is going to die, and it might not necessarily be who you think. I'm not talking about Naruto. I'm not talking about, obviously, Boruto. I'm not talking about Kawaki. I'm not talking about Amado. I'm not even really talking about Code, just being honest with you. Like, Code, that would be interesting to see where things go, but I feel like he's going to develop and all that jazz down the road. So I think even Code, for the most part, will be safe, although I wouldn't mind just get the sucker up out of here. Boroshiki's better. He says this. Code says his second, Shikamaru, is here. Interesting. And I feel like Shikamaru, from everything of him coming through, of him insisting on coming to help Naruto, I feel like Shikamaru is going to die in this exchange. And it will be devastating. It will be heartbreaking. I would be very, very sad. And there's still a big possibility it won't happen, but I feel like there's a big possibility it will. I feel like, hypothetically speaking, let's just say too, if that whole time travel theory is correct and Naruto died in a different timeline, I feel like if he's going to survive this thing, the swap out is going to be Shikamaru. Shikamaru is going to die, I feel. I feel like Naruto, in terms of Boroshiki doing a giant Rasengan, whether it be Code is just going to slash out his throat by the end of this whole thing, I feel like Shikamaru is going to be the casualty. I also feel like it's one of the safer bets that they can do, because for starters, one of the things Kishimoto said many years ago is nobody from the previous gen is off limits to die. Anyone can get it. He said this. I have the damn video. I made it many years ago. So that's one thing. Two, this is Boruto Naruto Next Generation, so he's even less safe. Like, we saw Kurama bite the big one, you know, a character that's been somewhat integral to the story since the very beginning, you know what I'm saying? So we saw him bite the big one. I don't see why they wouldn't, and considering we also have a clone of him when she could die anyway. And especially in the anime, it wouldn't have that much of an impact, because I always think about it from all angles, like story-wise, but also business-wise, and how the audience will receive it. It will be different. Like, we know Boruto can't die right now or anything like that. It's his show, and he's, you know, integral to everything, and kids would scream and drop this shit. Shikamaru can die, and if there's going to be a casualty, it would be him. And if Naruto was going to die in a different timeline, assuming all of that has any validity to it, and he's going to be saved, the exchange is probably going to be Shikamaru, and I don't know exactly, but I got a bad feeling about it, and I feel that could happen, and oh no, my god. Also, that kind of makes me think, where's Sasuke? Get your ass over here, dog. And after Naruto saving Kawaki from, you know, Boroshiki and all that jazz, he's asking him like, yo, you good? Like, what happened? Did Boruto get possessed again? And Kawaki's utter rage, and it was, you know, a very heartwarming rage. That's weird. Heartwarming rage. But him basically saying, I'm not okay. Why did you come here? And it's not on some, like, leave me alone or anything like that. It's, you're putting your life in danger. And the way he talks again, I don't know if he was in on it all along, or if he was just informed by Amado, like, no, the Hokage is supposed to die on X date. you gotta save him. It's up to you. You're one of the only ones that is capable of changing destiny and fate now that you have this knowledge. I'm just saying, man, maybe I'm writing my own headcanon here, or maybe there's a possibility. Because he even goes on to say, yo, run or you will die. Like, you're gonna die, dude. Get out of here. And of course, classic Naruto's response is like, yo, I can't run. I ain't no sucker dog. I ain't never ran from a motherfucker, and I ain't about to start running. And I said that shit all wrong, but you know what I mean, dog? Like, he's like, it's my village. I gotta protect people. They threatening. I'm sorry, dog. I can't do it. And Shikamaru gets caught lacking. Yeah. What? Shikamaru gets caught lacking by Code. Code shows up, puts a knife to his neck, and he's like, nobody move! I'll take this character, even though nobody gives a fuck about him anymore in this generation. I'll kill him, I swear to God. And I love, too, how Shikamaru's like, yo, just fight, don't worry about it. And when Code's like, yo, you want to die? And he's like, yes, get to it, kill me. Like, just do it already, because at the end of the day, he knows if he's out of the picture, that Naruto could fight more serious and not worry about a hostage or whatnot. But, god damn. And once again, just looking helpless in the situation, Kawaki getting duffed down because Boroshiki's like, oh, I think I will help Code because I want the Hokage out of here. I was like, shocker after shocker, man. Gotta love Boroshiki. And again, Kawaki just looked helpless throughout this chapter. I ain't gonna lie. Like, how many kicks to the face and getting knocked down did he have to take before he realized, oh shit, I'm not too useful here, huh? And Boroshiki preps a massive Rasengan to obliterate Naruto, only for a few pages later realize, wait a minute, it's getting absorbed. What happened? What plot fucking twist is this bad boy? And again, going back into the mind of madness, whoever this man is, Amado, he starts monologuing, and it's important. He thinks again, is it powerlessness that's irritating you, or grief over losing karma? So take it for yourself. Ishiki is gone for good. Here's a brand new power in the form of a karma that's purely a weapon, which let's digest a little bit of that. Okay, this was something that he already had kind of put in his mind and was questioning to Kawaki to begin with, like, is it powerlessness or is it your grief over losing karma? So he kind of had inserted that into him to begin with, but then also him saying Ishiki is gone for good. Is he really? That kind of like, it feels in a way, so wait, did you reprogram the karma? Because how else could you get rid of, it's like, it's a computer program, the karma, right? And in it is already self-inserted a virus, that virus being Ishiki. So did you somehow, if you reinserted karma into Kawaki, did you reprogram the karma to not have that virus in it? You used a fucking virus cleaner or something? And we see Kawaki's new karma form and a new dojutsu in his eye. It looks like a little triangle in the corner, and it kind of shocked the living shit out of the entire fandom, including Naruto himself. And I guess his response and reaction in the next chapter is going to be pivotal in understanding where this whole thing is going, in terms of like, is Kawaki going to be shocked, like, holy shit, what happened? If he's not, then we know that off screen he made a deal with Amado to get this to begin with, which would also add up to why he was able to erase his chakra signature to begin with, because he got a new karma, and that's all the effects of the new karma. And the chapter ended off immensely in a really epic way, and ultimately best chapter of Boruto for 2021. Love to see it. Love to end the year off this way. A very tough year, but it really makes me optimistic that while Boruto 2021 for the manga was not the greatest thing in the world, ultimately it looks like 2022 is going to be very bright and very awesome, and I'm gonna be on this like hot sauce on chicken, boy. Like, alright, can't wait. This was so freaking hype. Curious what you guys think. Is Shikamaru gonna die? Let's get morbid here. Is Shikamaru gonna die? Do you think that Amado is from a different timeline where Naruto dies in this battle and maybe he came back in time to switch things and Kawaki's changing him? Also, how did Kawaki get the karma back on him? Was it snuck onto that arm? Did he make a deal with Amado to begin with because he wanted this power and he needed this power to save Naruto? Your thoughts and expectations for this whole thing. Do you agree with me that it feels so much better when Boroshiki is treated as the villain of this story? Because unlike, again, a raging beast that we later find out is sympathetic, like, you know, what happened with Kurama and the Nine-Tailed Beast and all that jazz, like, it doesn't feel like there's any redemption for Momoshiki down the road. Like, unless they're gonna really try and spin it like, oh, you know, he conquered and destroyed and killed because he really, you know, he loves fruits and he feels like they're, you know, abusing of the vegetables and fruit. Like, unless they do some stupid shit like that, I prefer Momoshiki being the big villain of Boruto. It just makes sense, and I dig it. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the Boruto manga going into 2022. to it, chapter 66. There's just so much here, and it was amazing. What a bang to go out, baby. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Anime and manga. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and wow, I can't believe it, bro. Rasendan. Let's go, Boroshiki, baby. Always a treat when he shows up. Have an awesome one.